You're tuned in to XA Live with Texas Tech Chi Alpha. Be sure to use the comments to react to the sermon, ask a question, or just interact with one another. Thank you for choosing to spend this time with us, and we are so excited that you're here.
It's summertime, and this is Texas Tech Chi Alpha Live. We're super glad you're joining us again this evening, especially after the technical difficulties we had last week. But sometimes you can't help it when the internet decides to give up on life and just cut out on you. Anyways, before we hear from some of our friends, give a quick response to what Paige shared on last week. A couple quick announcements. If you find yourselves in town on Tuesday evening at 7:30, you can join us here at the Hub for Summer Small Group. We will be following all the procedures and protocols for joining together as a group again during this historic time we find ourselves in. And then also, if you'd like to be a part of the summer camp crew out at Roaring Springs Church Camp this summer, you can reach out to Brittany or some of us here on staff when we get you the application information, and y'all can get that turned in because the deadline is May 31st, which is upon us already, which is hard to believe. We're already through May. But before we hear from some of our friends, give a response to what Paige shared on. Paige herself is going to jump in and give us a quick little recap in case you missed last week's video or had a hard time hearing it because there were some audio issues last week as well. But yeah, let's hear from Paige and then from some of our friends.
Hey friends, Paige here. I am to hear from some of our friends from my challenge last week, testimonies of how they've grown. But before I did that, I wanted to, in case you had missed it, I talked about last week when this was our challenge that we were going to faith. This, wherever we're starting from, skyrocket. We're going to put our trust, we're going to lean into Him and see miraculous things that only He can do through. So, talk 9, and you can go back and see our last more of it. But I thought the image to recapturing that I didn't share at all. So I did share a quote of his, Miss Factor, and he said that faith is not something that we hold, but it's someone who holds us. And he gives this incredible illustration. There's this man from France named Blondin. Great name. But he used to walk over the Niagara Falls on a tightrope, doing all kinds of ridiculous stunts. And there was this one time he took a wheelbarrow of cement across this tightrope, and he did it successfully. Well, after he had done all these feats, a reporter actually told him, "There is nothing that you can't do, is there?" And Blondin said, "Well, if you think so, then do you think maybe I can put an untrained man in that wheelbarrow and take him across?" He said, "Oh, yes, I believe you could, Blondin." He said, "Okay, well, come on in. I'll do it with you." That reporter must have run away very quickly because he did find another willing individual, and they set out across the tightrope. But as they did, surely in all of the gambling and the wagers, this one man actually sabotaged it, and he cut the supporting wire, which keeps the wire straight. So now it's swaying side to side under the weight of both of these men. And so you know that guy who was just white-knuckling across in the wheelbarrow is suddenly freaking out and screaming for his life. Well, Blondin calms him down. He says, "Look, if you want to live, get out of the wheelbarrow right now. Put your arms around my neck. Wrap your legs around my waist." So he literally piggyback carries this man across the tightrope with his stick in hand. Wild. Cannot imagine this scenario. But he says, "Okay, look, you've got to give when I give. You've got to move when I move. You must become Blondin if we're going to live." So they continue across and they survive. Incredible story. And Winky relates it to our walk with Jesus. That we're fine, right? We're fine on solid ground. We know how to walk, we know how to move, but suddenly when we reach our own tightrope of life, we realize what it takes all along. is this full surrender to Jesus. That if we don't move when he moves and give when he gives, if we don't lean so intimately into him that we are one with him, we may not make it. And I feel like this is what a lot of us have experienced a bit in this pandemic season, is a real tightrope kind of experience. So I hope this encourages you. Again, Winky said, faith is not something we hold, but it is someone who holds us. So let's hear stories now of how some of our friends have experienced Jesus really carrying them through this season.
Hey friends, hoping everyone has had a great day and that you've had a great summer so far. You made it, you finished the semester strong, and now it's time to relax and recuperate before possibly next week when summer classes start, or until next fall. I just wanted to share my testimony of what the Lord has shown me through this entire coronavirus pandemic, and my time at home and my time in my apartment, and just times of doubt that I've had. So my name is Nolan Shelton, for those of you who don't know me, and I study mechanical engineering here at Tech. And just for me telling you that, you probably already assume that my classes were hard, especially online. You're not wrong. I was struggling to grasp material like I did in class. Office hours looked different, and it just was a different learning style for me. So I was just struggling and not really motivated to do things. And while I had eventually I kind of fell out of my devotion, and it was really limited. I didn't spend as much time with the Lord as I'd used to. And one night the Lord spoke to me and was like, told me what was wrong. And he said, "You're not spending enough time with me." And I'd realized I'd put most of my time in my entertainment into looking for entertainment in video games, Netflix, and all that stuff. And I was just sitting there and I was like, wow, I'm really disappointed in myself that I'd been trying to fulfill my day with things that are not that other than the Lord. And so I'd been spending more time, having a relationship with God, and he really just told me, you need to have faith, because I'd been questioning, why is this all happening, and, why are we going through this? And the Lord said, you just have faith and just hold strong, and I will get you through everything as I've done for your entire life. And it just really brought me back to my favorite Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. And those first two phrases, I was like, wow, I'd felt horrible and convicted. And just, I've been really putting my faith in the Lord every day. Through the whole rest of the semester, I was going to, doing my classwork, and I was like, wow, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be good. And it was. I finished the semester with higher grades than I expected, and I'm going to be starting summer class, and I know that I'm going to do good in that as long as I keep my faith grounded in the Lord, and I just, keep moving one day at a time. So for those of you who are struggling, just keep working, and just have faith that the Lord's going to take care of you. I mean, you've gotten this far, not only in this year, but in life. I mean, you've gotten this far. So for those of you who are struggling, just have faith. And for those of you who are thriving, keep doing what you're doing. I hope you're all staying safe out there. And, I miss y'all very much. Can't wait to see you when we get back on campus.
Y'all, I'm Sharon, and I wanted to share with y'all how I've been growing in my faith this summer. Something that I've noticed this summer is that my confidence in the Lord has grown tremendously. In the beginning of quarantine, I would say that I had a lot of internal battles and questioning a lot from where my career choice, always what I was going to do with my life, and where I was going spiritually. And this led me to tune a lot of things out, because when I'm uncomfortable and not in balance, I just tend to push things off. And so I wasn't really reading my Bible at the time, or really doing anything to help increase or grow my faith. And so What I noticed during that time, though, was that God was really pursuing me when I wasn't pursuing Him, and I felt so loved by that. Like through like shows like Grey's Anatomy or just like simple conversations, God would show me a part of Himself that I really needed at that time, and I just like felt like so loved and cared for. And so that constant pursuit really like led me to wanting to read more and also reading like things I haven't read before. And that definitely like helped my faith because I got to learn more of his character and more of what he says, and just believing that what he says is true, because it is. And that what came out of that was like a greater sense of peace. A verse that's like been on my head like throughout quarantine is just like trust in me with all your heart so that I can guide your steps. And that's what I've been trying to live by. Is just to trust in him in everything, because his ways are better than our ways, and he truly knows like what's best for your life. And a way, an opportunity that God has given me to trust in him is through like LTC and like hopefully like leading a small group next year. I'm like very anxious to do that and like fearful, but the Spirit always just reminds me to just trust in him. And I've had like so much encouragement from people like Paige and like KP, like my mom, and just like people saying that like this is definitely like what God would want you to do. And so throughout this period, I just want to trust in him and just show him that like I'm willing to be here and to do whatever you want me to do. And also like something that I've been learning is that like suffering is really a privilege, because you're getting to be more like Christ. And he's definitely going to use experiences like small group leading or just like you being friends with someone to definitely mold you and like break you so that you could be more like Christ. And that the like what I've been learning is that the mindset I should be having is that it's a true privilege to be broken. And like it's been hard to come to that realization, but I'm really happy to come to that realization, and I cannot wait to see like where he takes me as long as I trust him. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Asher. I am honored to kind of share a little bit of a testimony of what God's kind of revealed to me during these past few weeks of quarantine. I'm still doing medical school online, and it's different because you're definitely far away from everyone you've studied with in the past. And I think what's really been cool is that God's kind of shown me the importance of discipline. I really love James 1, 2, and 3, and 4, where James kind of talks about having faith in trials, and where the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And the cool thing is, discipline is a big part of what you have to do in medical school. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's kind of the same with our relationship with Jesus, where every day you are dying to yourself, taking up your cross and following him. And it's worth it, because we know that the testing of our faith, the tests of what it takes to die to ourselves and put ourselves on the cross every day, does produce fruit, and fruit that lasts. So one of the awesome things that's been happening is I'm still able to maintain the discipline of having a mind in love with God. And Holy Spirit kind of put on my heart to bring other fellow medical students in on this, because many of them haven't had the chance to really read the Bible until now. And so one of the dudes that I've gotten to do this with, he's a student who has grown up in the church but hasn't had the chance to really read the Bible. And so we've been reading through Genesis and Matthew together almost every single day, calling each other up, and really having 30-minute conversations like we would have if we were in a small group setting, where he's sharing his thoughts, his novel thoughts, not just stuff that I'm feeding him, and I'm able to fill in the holes of any misconceptions or misunderstandings. So God's like really using that as a way for him to grow, but also as a way for him to bring his family in on this. He's married, he has 2 kids, and it's really cool to see how the stuff we talk about is being relayed to his wife and his kids in terms of conflict resolution, or just misunderstandings, conflicts of different kinds that have happened throughout this time. So I've been really blessed that God is using me as a blessing in his life and his family's life, and I'm hoping that we can all maintain our discipline with what we do with our mind and love with God, because that's one of the most important things that we can maintain during this time, because it'll literally have downstream effects on the people around you that you share your mind with. So just wanted to bless you with that kind of testimony. God's been good, and I'm hoping for even more growth and fruit throughout this time. Love you guys. God bless y'all.
Hi. It's the Ashmores. So yeah, we're just like kind of going over like what Paige asked last week and giving like our like quarantine testimony. And from my point of view, it was really kind of hard because I had like just lost a job in January due to my own faults. I have no one else to blame. And then I got a job in February and worked it for a little bit. Didn't pay as much, but I had one and it was fine. But I was just really stressed over money. And then we had this pandemic and quarantine, and I lost my job again. And I was just really stressed because I heavily relied on like my money and what I can do, and I have to provide for myself because I can't count on anybody else. And that's not a good mindset to have. And I really before was really praying that God would humble me and I would grow my dependency on him. And I certainly got what I asked for. But yeah, it's just been a huge growing period for me because we didn't have much money coming in. He had a job and I didn't, but we also weren't married at the time, and it was just really stressful, and I kept seeking peace and stuff from God because I knew he would take care of me and provide for me and stuff. And yeah, he definitely answered my prayers over that. Yeah, and I wasn't super disciplined over the quarantine like I wanted to be, and I plan on doing it differently this summer. But the things that I have tried to grow in has been friendship, because I feel I struggle a lot in that, initiating friendships, and that you can't do if you're gonna be a leader. You have to actually be a leader and initiate things. So that's something I have been kind of working on. It's really hard being an introvert, and just depending on God is a huge thing. I have a lot to work on, a lot of things to grow in, but who doesn't? And I still have a whole summer and till my death to prepare for that and keep growing. And because I'll never know everything. I'll never know enough. And it's scary, but satisfying at the same time, because I only have a limited view of everything, and God can see it all, and it just keeps pushing me to get to know him more and see things the way he does, and not rely on my works and rely on his faithfulness, because he is a lot better than I am. He's perfect. And I struggle a lot.
Okay. Yeah. It was really weird kind of looking back at the whole start of this pandemic thing. I think we'd been engaged for about a month at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about a third of the way through our engagement, and this whole pandemic happened, and thankfully I was able to keep my job. But with the whole looking at it now, saying this is what our engagement's going to be like, and this is what we're going to have to do for our wedding, I felt like things were getting taken away from me. I was really kind of upset, and I was really in a bad mood for quite a decent amount of the beginning of it. I kept on wanting to say that it wasn't gonna be forever. Like, oh, it's gonna be 2 weeks, and we're gonna get back into school, and it's gonna be normal again. And when that didn't happen, I was just getting kind of more and more just kind of upset about it, and didn't really have a great attitude. But it was one of those deals where I was just kind of bitter about the whole situation. But as it was kind of set in stone that this was going to be what the rest of the semester looked like, I started to realize, okay, I'm still going to be getting married. We don't really know what it looks like yet, but I still need to pursue God. I still need to spend time with Jesus, and I don't need to let my situations dictate how I spend time with Jesus and how I worship Him. So I started kind of listening to more podcasts. I did some more reading, and I started to realize how faithful God was being in the whole situation. Soon after trying to figure out everything with our wedding, we ended up figuring out that we would do it at Ashton's uncle's house, and it was beautiful, and it was great, and it was awesome. And even in that situation, we were worried, having to go all the way down to Austin. Oh man, what are we going to do? Shout out to the Hesters. They ended up getting us a hotel room in Austin, and got that all paid for and all taken care of, so we didn't have to make the drive back that night. So yeah, it's just really cool how throughout all this, kind of with the different situations, just seeing God's faithfulness. And even though I was kind of really upset and I was wavering, God stayed true, and He stayed honest to His word. And yeah, it was really cool. But recently, kind of towards the end of this semester, we've been making lots of changes, moving in together, getting married. So
Married first.
well, married first, and then moving in together. But so I've honestly kind of gotten out of a habit of reading and listening to podcasts like I have been. But I'm hoping that over this summer, and I'm planning over this summer to start waking up a little bit earlier in the morning, and starting my day off with Jesus every day, because what better way is there to start off your day? So, but yeah, that's pretty much what our pandemic testimony has been like.
Thanks for watching our TED Talk. He's a lot better at words than I am. That's why I married him, so I can learn. Just kidding. Okay, bye.
Hey guys, I hope y'all are doing well. I think Paige's message was very spot on given everything that's happening right now, and it really spoke to me personally. What really stood out to me in her message was when she was talking about how the disciples had a big Jesus moment on the mountain during the Transfiguration. But then, instead of sharing those experiences with others, they idolized the experience and kept it to themselves. The reason we have experiences like the ones the disciples had with Jesus is so that we can take that light and share it with other people. So for me, throughout these past few months, ever since the pandemic began, I feel like I've been able to grow a lot in my walk with Jesus, far more than I would have otherwise. And this has been especially true with my spiritual discipline. Normally, during college, I always seem to feel like I'm busy with something school-related, or just one thing or the other gets in the way, and it feels like on some days it's hard for me to discipline myself to devote time to Jesus. But now that this pandemic has pretty much put everything on hold and has, our lives have come to a halt. It's really allowed me to reevaluate my priorities and focus a lot more on my walk with Jesus. And in the past few weeks, I feel like I've been able to use this experience to teach guys in my small group at my church here. And my hope and prayer is that when I come back to Lubbock in the fall, I'll be able to use this experience to keep casting the net and to disciple more guys.
It was super awesome getting to hear from some of y'all share in response to what Paige talked about last week. We'd love to hear from more of y'all, so please keep sending in those responses. Also, send in some videos of things y'all have been up to lately during this historic time we have found ourselves in. Be it cooking, new skills, hobbies, just some funny videos, whatever. Or if you find yourself playing disc golf and you hit an ace, go ahead and send in that video, because if it's not recorded, did it really happen, Garrett? Before we go, I don't know about y'all, but during my time here with Texas Tech Chi Alpha, I have amassed quite the t-shirt collection, be it shirts such as the one I'm wearing now, supporting a team raising money for a missions trip, or just the t-shirts we have each year for Texas Tech Chi Alpha. Since we've been here 4 years, I'm going to go ahead and give us a quick historic run through of all the shirts I have here in my handy dandy Chi Alpha bag. All right, we've got year one. That's a throwback all the way to 2016. Pretty cool t-shirt for our year one. Year two, which is by far my favorite, mainly because it's got the best Chi Alpha logo, and I do say the best Chi Alpha logo for any group in Chi Alpha. Year three, we go to the classic guns up design with our logo on the back because it is the best logo. And then year four, we throw Texas there in the middle because we are Texas Tech Chi Alpha. For this year's shirt, we're actually going to have a design contest. I will send out some more details for that, but pretty much it's free reign on whatever you want to do. The only thing we will be doing to any of the designs is we'll put this logo on the back. Everything else is 100% up to you. The only limitations are your imagination. We want to make this year's t-shirts the best t-shirts we've had yet, because this is year 5, and we want to have some fun with it. So we'll tell y'all how to send in those designs, but be thinking, and let's see what we can do.
Thank you for watching X voice message and being at the same next.
It's summertime. Nope. Corona. It's summertime, and this is Texas Tech Chi Alpha Live. I was moving in that shot. It's summertime, and this is Texas Tech Chi Alpha Live. We're super glad you're joining us again this evening, especially after the technical difficulties we had last week. But sometimes you can't help it when the internet decides to give up on life and just cut out on you. Thankfully, we didn't lose this.